Welcome, racers and race fans, here on this Thursday night here in California at the Auto Club Speedway for the inaugural event for the 280 or She Ain't a Lady Racing League. And I think we're going to have a good race here. We got a strong field tonight. Qualifying just wrapping up. Bring up the results of that for you in just one moment as the cars line up on the grid. There you have it. Starting out front, strong as always, is Doug Argabright in that number 41 machine. Well, let's get his proper livery up for you real quick. Looks like Trading Paints has decided to leave the building. It's the first stream. I hope you'll pardon a few small snags here and there. All right, should have everybody's paint jobs beginning to load in for us. But like I said, first event here for this league. Glad to have you with us as we get rolling here. Like I said, starting up front on that pole position is Mr. Doug Argabright. Second, rolling off on that outside lane will be Kyle Nadeau in that number 97 Lowe's Chevrolet. We got Crank Bell lining up third position inside second row. And that number 14 machine lining up fourth. Jeff Dotson, the number 3 Granger Ford. Rounding out your top 5, we got Greg Burchett in that number 31 very multicolored machine. Let's see if we can get a better look at that for you. Well, as they begin to roll off, we'll let that happen. Very tie-dyed and U.S. Army sponsored machine. Jumping back, P6 Caleb Hayes in the number 90. Followed by Brandon Torres starting P6 in the number 95. Sorry, Zach Miller, that's going to be inside in that number 38 Celsius Toyota. Followed by Brandon Torres. Next up, we got Nick Rossi. That number 22 Ford. That very, very cool looking Coast Guard helicopter themed machine. It'll be very easy to spot out on track tonight. Quite a few Coast Guard and Army individuals, active service members, and otherwise scattered throughout our field, as well as others. The Bush number 12 starts ninth. That's Stephen Parker, and rounding out the top 10 is Zach Laugen in the number 24. As the field gets set to go green, we seem to have lost our pole sitter. This field will shuffle. Frank Bell's going to lead him to the green. Green flag is out for lap 114. Gets a great jump out front early for Bell as the field does some quick thinking on their feet to reshuffle positions. Argabright appears to have dropped connection on us, unfortunately. Ooh, from the 97. Back in second place, we'll see Kyle is able to gather it up, but loses a ton of track position. He's going to settle out down in the 8th position for now, but still out front, Crank Bell. Closest battle right now, that battle for P4 between the 95 Brandon Torres and 12 Stephen Parker. Torres handily dominating that position, taking it away and running with it. Now we see 31 of Burchett marching forward. Rio Dotson lost a couple positions here. We'll see if he can march back up to the front. The race to took a couple people off guard as we see the field start to spread out early up front. Light racing back here in the mid-pack as we see broadcast software freak out for just a minute. Apologize about that. But as we see again for this 5th position, heating up between the 31 and the 3. Virgin has it. Dotson not going to let him run away with it. As behind them we see Zach Loudon going for that 7th spot. 38 of Miller strong back on the outside in that Celsius machine. Side by side as they come across the stripe. Loudon to the inside, Miller to the outside. Miller's going to take that spot. Momentum on the high line, proving dominant so far in this race as we see the 2 Coast Guard machines lined up in a row back here in 9th and 10th. Start back there for Nejusi after that major slide in lap 1, falling all the way back to 12th. Tiger's probably not too happy with the situation, but hopefully we get back on board at some point later in the night. Still a tight pack in here, trying to crack into the top 5. Right now, 31 is the gatekeeper for the top 5. We got Johnson right behind him, looking to make up that ground. Finally got around the 2 of Sullivan and looking to keep that forward march going into the top 5. Big movers in the early laps so far. 8 positions already on the race is Stephen Parker in that number 12. Big moves early coming from toward the back of the field to the front in just a short span of 5 laps. Already cracking the top 5, sitting 4th right now. Up front, still a decent gap for Bell, but starting to encroach on that lead is Hayes. That number 90, sinister looking black machine of Hayes, really gaining ground on the T-Rex Express, number 14. Nose to tail, half a car length, bumper to bumper now as they cross the line, heading into lap 7 here at Auto Club. Looking to the inside is Hayes, not going to have that opportunity yet. Now goes to the outside through 1 and 2. Looking for that momentum off the corner, but it's still 14 of Bell with the advantage. Down the back stretch, we see the field scattering behind side by side for 4th back there. Burgett moves up into the top 5 and actually claims another spot up to 4th now. Bell ahead, still Bell and Hayes for this lead. Hayes going to have some help from Torres possibly in the near future as Bell continues to hold the lead and try to hold off these two cars behind him. Good run for the Hayes on this round through 1 and 2. Not getting a whole lot of momentum off the corner. Somehow, even on the bottom lane, Bell's holding strong on the straightaways. Stripe on the bottom, Torres to the outside. Now we see Hayes looking for that 2nd spot side by side with Torres. Dead even across the stripe, both of them sniffing the exhaust fumes of that 14 of Bell. Who is going to have it done? This is going to get it complicated for Bell. He's got not 1 but 2 trucks to hold off for that lead now. Still side by side down the backstretch off of 2. Good run for Hayes. On the outside, half a car advantage over for Torres. Torres very strong to 3 and 4, but still dead even down the front stretch. Looking a little farther back, and we're getting spicy back here for the top 5. We see Parker and Sullivan going at it. Parker in that 12 on the outside, Sullivan in the 2 on the inside. Parker has it, Sullivan wants it, still side by side, dead even down the back straight. Advantage Parker. Parker's got Miller pushing right behind, helping him out in that draft, and Miller's going to go all the way to the outside, up against that fence through 3 and 4, but still side by side for the 2 and 12 in front. Biding their time and decreasing the gap, rather, are these several cars behind. We see Sullivan behind, Burchett falls back to 7th, Dotson running 8th. They do a 9th as we see Parker in the fence. Parker's going to get a little bit of the wall with that right front, and he's going to lose a lot of spots and potentially drop outside the top 10. Big mistake there, where Parker was very costly. He's going to settle out around 8th right now. Look who we have coming back up in the pictures at 97. Kyle Nadeau in that Lowe's machine back up to 7th. After just seeing him all the way in the background, 13th position, getting all the way back up into 7th in short order as most of the field starts to utilize that high lane as the tires wear out and the drive off the corners lessens. Jumping back up front real quick, we still have an intense battle between the top 3. Bell still barely holding on out front. We've seen a couple swaps, but the 95 Torres second. Now the 90s looking inside. Those second and third place cars of Torres and Hayes playing all sorts of mind games down the front stretch. Bell on the outside, all the way up against the fence. 95 Torres all the way down to the inside on that white stripe. Coming off the corner, off turn 2, dead even. Give the advantage to Bell with the momentum. Side drafting by Torres, trying to pull that 14 back to him. Down to 3 and 4, still dead even. Bell's shifting to the high lane, or to the mid lane rather, instead of the high lane that he's taken through 1 and 2. Still absolutely dead even between these two trucks as we see just a little bit of contact as Torres is side drafting like an animal to try to scrap and claw his way to the lead. 1 and 2. Same again. Big advantage for Torres that time. He's going to put that bumper in front of Bell and claim that P1 position. Torres to the lead here on Auto Club. Great racing so far here at the now defunct Auto Club Speedway. Now home to a bunch of warehouses and such. The grandstand's one of the only things left standing. The Auto Club, also known as California Speedway, both before and after the corporate sponsorship by Auto Club Southern California. It's a 2-mile D-shaped oval. As you can see, one of the larger tracks on the circuit up until its demise. It's a twin to the Michigan International Speedway in Brooklyn, Michigan. Auto Club always known for its gorgeous surroundings with these mountains in the background and just a great setting all around and usually providing excellent racing. And tonight is no exception as we still see the top 3 neck and neck. Just 2 car lengths separate first and second. Now they're going to draw even the 95 Torres alongside Bell again. Cream of the crop so far is these top 3, the 95, 14, and 90 trucks. You see Nadeau all the way up to 4th position after that big moment early on in the race. Manages to gather it up and climb back into the top 5. Still side by side down the backstretch. Bell and Torres. Bell with a big advantage on the outside. You have to wonder how long the 95 Torres can battle on that bottom and have those front and rear tires pulled out. Keeping that 14 in check. We see every time off of 4. Hard on the side drafting. Trying to use that aero to his advantage and keep that 14 from using that outside lane momentum. The 90 of Hayes searching. Hayes goes high. Both these two down low. He's going to go all the way outside of the wall, trying to get some momentum in that 3rd position. Things are settling out back. Close battle right back here is for the 5th position. We see Laugen and Miller, 24 and 38. 24 is going to take over that spot now, but we haven't seen the last from Miller. Something tells me the draft is strong here, and no doubt off of turn 2, we might see a run for him. Keeping an eye on that scoreboard. Torres momentarily in the lead. Switching back and forth constantly are the two trucks, the 95 and 14. Evening out so far. Let's go take a look at those two Coast Guard machines in the back, side by side. The 2 and the 22. Seeing Sullivan scrapping for that 9th position. Advantage Rossi right now. Rossi's going to set sail for Dotson, about 0.3 of a second ahead. So far, definitely a race of comers and goers. We've seen trucks rather, all the way to the back, like 97 and they do. From the front to the back and to the front again. Currently sitting P4 trying to build a little bit of distance in front of these 2 trucks behind, but hard to do when they've been running nose to tail behind, using a little bit of draft to their advantage. Closing is the 24. 3 car lengths now separate 4th, 5th, and 6th. They do in front. Laugen 2nd. Miller running out that threesome. Side by side now behind. Miller on the outside. Gets a little bit of position on Laugen. Let's see if he can hold it through 3 and 4. Miller all the way up to the wall. Painting the line on the bottom down the apron now. He's going to hit the pits for the first pit stop of the day. 24 hits pit lane. Back out front, side by side, still Bell and Torres. Inverted from last time. Now we've got Torres on the outside. Bell to the inside. We see Bell trying to get it done. Let's hop on that roll bar and take a ride along with him here at Auto Club. Hayes hits pit lane from 3rd position. Taking mental notes on the fuel window. We're at lap 23 and beginning to see pit stops now. Sullivan exiting pit lane. Looks like we may see Bell dip down a pit lane this time by. gets the truck woed down onto pit lane. We see Nadu coming behind as well. Torres, Miller, Parker, Johnson, and Burchett. The only trucks yet to pit. Still Torres out front as the sun sets, the lights come on. You start to see those reflections off of that 95 machine. Now we see Torres hit the pit lane from the lead as Miller follows. That's going to give the lead to Jeff Johnson. Johnson's going to lead a lap. You may see a little bit of strategizing. We have several drivers staying out to lead a lap. Dotson claims his lap, now at 24. Loudon's going to go for it as well. Apologies. Loudon's actually unlapping, having already pitted 2 laps before. There is the number 3 still out front. It looks like still going to stay on track one more time around. Back to second place at 31 of Burchett. Also stretching that field run, maybe hoping for a caution, hoping possibly to inherit the lead for an extra bonus point or 2. See Miller up front in that 38 rejoining the track. Going to rejoin a lap down. Should get that back as soon as we see Dotson hit pit road. But who we do see out front should inherit the lead is that 14. Had an excellent pit stop. Came out well ahead of Hayes and Torres. Looks to have built around a 2-second lead so far. Sorry, possibly larger than that. That's looking about 4 seconds as I can tell. Instead of guessing about it, let's just throw it up there for you. Get more accurate in just a moment as the leaders, the inherited leaders, will come back around and pass Dawson and Burchett, who have hit pit lane this time by. 1.6 seconds, 1.7 seconds of gap between Bell and Hayes. Torres falling back a substantial margin in his pit stop. Nearly 5 seconds back from your leader of Bell. Back in the field, things are getting a little mixed up here. There's 2 of Sullivan I'm trying to look at. Coast Guard and Army machines, the 2 and the 82 going at it back here. 4th position though, Odell 1 lap down. 2 of Sullivan is lead lap. Spreading out his battle. This is the closest position in the field right now between the 3 and the 2, a little ways behind. Back here for that 9th spot. P7, Nick Rossi in that 22 Coast Guard machine, leading Parker in that Bush. Sorry, in that Bush Ford. And as I say that, Parker's going to go by and take that position with authority. Maybe some drafting, some fuel saving going on here. quick, well, we got a spread out field. Let's take you through some of the teams we have out on track tonight. We do have multi-car teams in this league, many with open spots. If you are interested in getting involved in the league, don't hesitate to drop a message in the chat. We will try to get you hooked up with your appropriate people to get you in the league. Starting with Pegasus Racing, let's jump over to them. First off, we got the 3 of Jeff Dotson back here in that Ranger machine. The 3, the 31, just behind Dotson. That's going to be Greg Burchett. And Brandon Odell in that 82 is going to round out Pegasus Racing. Team Puddle Jumpers, that's going to be a familiar driver, Sean Sullivan, in that number 2 machine. Just behind that excellent looking Coast Guard machine, which we have several of this evening. The 22 in the other Coast Guard machine, Nick Rossi. Next up, a couple positions ahead, open 6, Zach Laugan and the other Arthur Coast Guard machine, that number 24. Finally, the 9 of Eric Camp, rounding out the quartet of Coast Guard themed trucks in our race tonight. That is fittingly dubbed Team Puddle Jumpers. Finally, our last team we have put together tonight is the Lemon Lawyers. Will be the 14, your leader of Craig Bell. And also the 97 of Cal Nadu, sitting back and forth currently. Nadu closing on that 3rd position, though. We see him right up on the rear of Torres in that 95. Nadu doing an excellent job so far as we see him pull alongside through 3 and 4. He's got him by the numbers off the corner. A bit of a touch there off the corner as they both attempt a side draft and come together. Dead even across the stripe. Nadu with momentum up top. 95 of Torres to the bottom. Great run off the corner there for Torres. Nadu's going to have a big run. Let's see if he wants to elect to go for the inside or if he's going to stay and try that outside again. Inside looking. He's going to head down the bottom in turn 3. Going for that crossover is Nadu. Let's see if he can clear the 95 off of 4. Not quite going to get there. They're going to be pretty even coming off of 4. Tucking back in line now. Nadu not able to get it done on the bottom. Torres holding strong in that 3rd position so far. Oh, as we see Nadu get the wall. Big moment there off of 2 for Nadu. He's going to lose a little bit of track position here. Doesn't look like any significant damage to the truck. Just a scrape, but definitely not what you want to see. Looking at about 10 more laps, potentially, before we see pit stops start to enter the picture again. Probably 10 to 15 laps for most of these drivers. Bell still handily out front. Gap now 2.6 seconds, just increasing that gap over Hayes. We see Torres, though, Torres and Nadu actually closing that gap to the 90 for 2nd position, so maybe we see a little bit of tire wear coming into play for that second place 90 truck of Hayes. That gap was quite substantial when they first came off pit lane. It was about 1.7 back from the leader, and then another 3 seconds back to third place. So that gap has very noticeably closed, as you can see behind. Hayes very slow on the backstretch that time. Torres closing within 0.3 now. Torres suddenly on a mission in that Toyota. Still holding 3 car lengths behind Hayes for that second spot. Of note, Hayes does have 2 laps fresher tires than Torres. Torres, one of the first cars to drop onto pit lane during that first round of green flag pit stops. Maybe a little bit of tire wear coming into play here, as we see most of the trucks around them have gone another lap or 2 before coming in for their pit stops. Torres taking over that second spot, setting sail for the leader. Gap 2.8 seconds presently. Hayes trying to hang on in that draft, following him all the way down to the apron on the front stretch. Big lift there on the fourth for Hayes. Definitely looks like the front tire, that right front, might be giving up on that truck. He's definitely losing a lot of ground off the corners, as we see. They do also starting to struggle. We see 4.6 back from the leader, losing a little more ground. Back behind them, though. Let's jump back in this battle. We got the 24 and the 3 going at it. We got Laugen and Dotson. Followed by Parker about a half second behind. Parker's loving this. Keep going side by side a little longer, guys. I want to come up and get mixed in this equation. Advantage. Laugen to the outside so far. Dotson trying to make it happen on the bottom. Good run off the corner for both. They're going to be side by side off of 2. No side drafting to be found here. 2 car lengths between the 2 cars. Dotson falling back slightly. Shallow enter there for Dotson. He's probably going to give up a little time right here and proves me wrong. Gets a massive run off the corner. Still side by side with Laugen. Trading back and forth just as predicted. Here comes Parker into the picture. Just a couple of car lengths behind this twosome. And closing rapidly. This battle for 6th spot. Dotson, Laugen, and Parker. Dotson trying to squeeze his way back up through the field. Gonna get that position, starts to pull a gap on the 24. Dotson down 2 positions on the day from where he started the race so far. Laugen and Parker both up 4 spots. And looking for more as they try to get around that 3 truck. They do going to be the first truck to hit pit lane this time around. Lap 45, we're starting to see the second round of green flag pit stops. A clean race so far. We're still green, but still have some good racing going on here in the mid-pack. Jumping on board now with Logan, trying to chase down Dotson for that pit spot. Dotson running a bit of a different line off the corner as we see, but might actually be benefiting and not giving any of that draft to the truck behind. See more cars hit pit lane. 14 Bell, 95 and Torres both in pit lane. We'll see if Bell can pull out that lead even farther as he did the last round of pit stops. Rolling down the front stretch, the 3 and the 24, followed by the 12. They are your first, second, and third place cars right now in this green flag cycle of pit stops. Ricard Dotson still out front by 5 car lengths. Loudon starting to fumble just a little bit, dropping back almost into the clutches of that 12 of Parker. We'll see if any of them take to pit road this time by. We're going to see the 24 dip down and surrender that second spot. Parker's going to follow. Dotson going to stretch it again out front. Dotson, last pit stop, lap 26, can stretch it a little bit farther than the rest of the field. Burchett also behind. They're both going to play the long game here. Randall Peasley, haven't heard from most of the night, but is going to assume that third spot during this round of pit stops. Good to see you're out here, Randall. Looks like Bell still out to a provisional lead, as we'll see as these pit stops should start wrapping up within the next lap or two. Expecting Johnson and Burchett to stretch it to another 26 laps. We'll probably expect them around lap 52. After which Bell will inherit the lead, followed by Torres 2 seconds back. So Torres maintaining that gap pretty well, keeping it just about the same to that lead, not losing anything on pit road. And that's the kind of execution he needs to stay in this race. Unsure what happened here, but looks like we got a little bit of dust up or something for the number 90 of Hayes. Caleb Hayes has some kind of issue. Pitting twice at this point. Pitted back on lap 48. Just now leaving pit lane as everyone else is on lap 51. Maybe a little bit of right front damage incurred there. That's going to take him out of contention. 3 laps down as it stands. Rossi also having some difficulties. Foster 3 laps down. Odell 8 laps now. Expect some of these drivers, Sullivan and Beasley, likely to get that lap back as the 3 and 31 eventually make their pit stops, as we see happen right now on lap 52. Dotson hits pit lane. Burchett follows. Bell just now entering turn 3, assuming Bell will take over that lead, coming back around this time by. .53 of 85. We're coming to 32 laps left. That is a long distance to stretch this. It would probably take a caution for those 2 trucks of Dotson and Burchett to be able to make it from here. I would like to say that it probably won't happen, but you never do know. Dotson and Burchett falling back towards the tail end of that top 10. Back to 7th and 8th right now, both leaving pit lane on the backstretch as we speak. A whole lot of real tight racing going on right now. Closest we got is actually back where they just rejoined. Well, up here, this battle between Logan and Parker, 24 and 12, still going at it. It's a bush sandwich between the 2 Coast Guard machines of Logan and I'm actually not sure who's bringing up the rear there. Assume possibly Sullivan. It's battle now for position. 2 still 1 lap down. 95 second place. The 2's going to start setting sail for that 14, hoping to unlap himself. Massive gap for your leader. Has had absolute dominant speed all night. That 14 of Bell. Starting to inch his way toward that second spot as they do, and that 97 has the 95 of Torres within his sights, and possibly might be able to work his way up there as Torres seems to be having difficulties getting around the 2. The 2 looking to unlap himself currently. Still has about 2 seconds from his current position on track to get back to Bell, who is your leader to unlap himself. And we have yellow flag. Unsure what the cause of this yellow is, but this is good news for the 3 and the 31 who might be able to make it on fuel from this point onwards. Everyone else not quite in their fuel window just yet. Or sorry, able to make it. Dotson and Burchett able to make it on one more stop rather than 2. Their last pit having been at lap 52. Meanwhile, the rest of the field was 47 for Boomer. Getting the sights and sounds as they pace. A nice look at some of our decals for this series. This series actually put on by Mr. Zach Miller in that 38. With the help from a few admins, Zach being 614 Designs, the title sponsor of the series. And of course, a nod to some of the Army and Coast Guard active and otherwise throughout the field. Showing our support for them, of course. Everybody hitting pit lane except for Laugen and Parker so far. They are staying on track presently. Might see a little bit of mixture of strategies here towards the latter stage of this race, as we're just about 25 laps to go currently. That is right on the edge of the fuel window for a lot of these guys, depending on how they're driving, how much they're saving. Longest fuel run we've seen so far tonight is 27 laps out of that 3 and 31. Sitting 6th and 8th right now. Rest of the field coming in around 24 laps. We'll see if they have what it takes to stretch out these fuel runs like those two have been doing all night so far. Laugen deciding to come this time by. Parker's going to be the only one to stay on the racetrack. Pitted lap 47. Everybody else in the field likely coming in for at least fuel, maybe tires. Drivers have 3 sets of tires in addition to the ones they started the race on tonight. So that's 3 extra sets they're allowed to use. Some of these drivers might be holding out to try to stretch it to just one more pit stop without using that extra set this time around. What Parker's going to have to hope for here is that the tires equalize pretty quickly, as everyone else behind him likely going to have some fresh tires on. for this last, looks to be 23 laps sprint to the finish. Again, those drivers will have to be cautious. That is on the edge of the fuel window. So Parker might have to hope for another caution here. I'm not quite sure what's going through the mind in that as well, but might be playing some next level games we're not privy to. We're just going to start to the inside, to the outside bell. As we get ready to go green one more time, lined up 2 in a row. We'll see if he can get a good launch here. Green flag is back out. Good launch for Parker so far. Torres, following in his tire tracks, gets a great launch as well. Both of them are going to take position on the 14 of bound. 95 to the outside quickly. Big wobble there. 95 sideways, drifting through turn 1 and 2. Absolute pandemonium behind as everyone scrambles to try to avoid the 95. Torres with some heavy contact. Yellow flag is out again. I believe we saw several drivers involved. We see heavy left front damage to that 31 of Burchett. I'm going to assume the same for Dotson. We see Dotson just ahead. Appears to have some pretty heavy right front damage in that wreck. There's nowhere to go on that bottom lane as the 95 came back down. See if we can go back real quick and take a look at this replay. We'll see what happened to that 95. Let's go back and ride along with Brandon Torres here. See an absolute massive slide. Starts coming back down the track. Nowhere for the 3 to go. Back up the track into the 31. Absolutely clobbers him into the outside wall. Massive damage for both of those cars. Front, left and right damage for Torres. Not looking good for what's been a strong day for that 95 truck. Extensive repairs for those cars. This yellow giving them a little bit of chance to repair, but pretty heavy damage on both of those machines. A 3 and the 31. Trying to play the strategy throughout the day, and just to have it ended like this. Parker is probably happy for this, because Parker's going to get to come down and take fuel and tires that he wasn't able to take, or elected not to take, during the last caution. Looks like we see some front end damage back there for the 63 of Randall Peasley. Not sure if he was involved in that altercation or an earlier one. Didn't see it on the replay, but might have had something in the fallout of that. A couple other trucks electing to come down, get a splash of fuel, possibly for some overtime. I believe we have 2 attempts set. Back up with your leaders as it stands. Bell's going to inherit the lead now. Nadeau's going to start outside in that second spot. Laugen in the 1 of 4 Coast Guard machines in that 24. Sullivan in the 2 is going to start outside second row. Miller inside third row. Outside third row is going to be the 12 of Parker after he catches back up to the field. Lead cars did not pit this time, so there will be no wave arounds. Let's see, a lucky dog out of somebody. That might have been Peasley, actually, who would have received that. But due to damage repairs on pit lane, probably not going to get that during this caution period. Good clean racing by everyone so far. Just a big mishap on the restart. Colder track as the night comes out. Definitely not going to fire off quite as quickly. Not going to get the heat back in those tires as quickly on these restarts. Definitely got to be a little bit careful in one. Mid-corner to exit one gets really treacherous here on cold tires. You're trying to put a lot of power down on tires that just aren't ready to take it yet, and we see the results of that pretty clearly on that last restart. But we'll line them up, stack them up, and fire them off again. It's not over yet. We still got 14 in the 97. 97 has had quite the day from the front. Started outside pole to the back, all the way back to 14th position at one point in the run. And now we see towards the end of the race, all the way back up to P2, has had excellent speed in that number 97 Lowe's machine all day. We'll see what he can do with it here in the closing laps. Race truck is off. Here we go. 14's going to fire him off. Green flag back in the air. Good jump for Bell. Nadu's going to slide back into that second position. Third, Laugen. All three trucks get a good restart, but it's Bell to pull out to a 2-truck length lead. Washing up the tracks at 97. Taking advantage, Laugen going into P3, but we hear some carnage on the outside. Yellow's going to come back out again. Taking a look back at that real quick. We're going to see Parker wash up the track just a little bit here. Oh, it falls prey to the same issue. Just gets really, really loose on those cold tires. Hits the side of Zach Miller and shoots back up the racetrack into that outside wall. That's going to be day done for the 12 machine. Once again, if you're riding along with us for this broadcast, this is the 280 or Channel 80 racing series here on iRacing. If you'd like to get involved, go ahead and drop us a message in that YouTube chat. We will try our best to get you hooked up with the league admins to get you in here to join in on the action. This is just round 1 of 14 this season. Next week, we're going to be in Vegas. Just down the road here from Auto Club. Gonna head back east just a little bit. We're headed for Vegas for 115 laps. That's going to be next Thursday, September 19th. We'll see who's got luck on their side and who goes home broke. Today it's going to be the 12 of Parker going home broke in pit lane with a totaled race truck. So like I said, we've got the Gambler 173 at Vegas next week. The following week will be a throwback to the 80s at Darlington Raceway. That'll be 100 laps of Darlington there in South Carolina. That's going to be September 26th, and that's what our schedule is looking like a couple weeks out. Hope to have you tune back in for that, or possibly involved and here racing with us. Would absolutely love to see that. Little bit of comparison to last pit lap for these drivers. Pretty similar for everybody, but we see Nadu came down again. Miller came down again at 69. Peasley came back down again at lap 69. We see several coming in yet again. Assuming maybe for a splash of fuel, might not have got enough in there. Possibly serving a penalty. Not sure. Could have sped on pit lane the first time. See if he actually stops in the box. That'll tell us what we've got going on. Does stop long enough. Looks like might be taking some more fuel on that truck. Quick stop and go and back out of the pits. Another truck losing track position. Mover of the day, though, Sean Sullivan, and that number 2 machine up 10 spots from the start of the race. Started back in 13th, now up to 3rd. Sean Sullivan absolutely tearing it up in that Coast Guard Ford today. Believe it or not, we are not sponsored by the Coast Guard. A lot of active Coast Guard members here racing with us tonight. As you see that quartet Coast Guard race trucks fly by the camera. All right, back up front. It's Big Crank Bell lining up in front of our field again, taking them to the green flag. Pace truck is off. And we await the green flag. Green is out. Bell fires off. Gets a massive jump over second place Loudon. Cleared by 4 car lengths. Right off the jump. Down turn 1. Everybody down there painting that white line on those fresh tires. Making all the time they possibly can at present. Let's jump back just behind them. We got to battle the Coast Guard machines. Side by side, Logan, Sullivan, the 24 and 2. The 2's going to take it down to the bottom. 24 to the outside. Sullivan waits for no man. He clears the 24 by 3 car lengths off the corner. A mad scramble behind them for 4th place. We see Camp moving on up the standings. Started out, has been toward the back of the pack most of the day, all the way back up to 4th position now and holding strong, making up ground on that 24 right now. Miller in that 38 is the next truck back for position, followed by the 97 of Nadu. The other 2 trucks you see here, the 90 and the 22, are both 1 or more laps down. The 92 laps down, 22 4 laps down at present. Bell out front by a pretty good margin, and half second back to Sullivan. About another half second back to Logan, and Logan being absolutely run down by Camp. Camp is going for all that truck is worth. Let's jump on board as he tries to make hay in the number 9 truck. the nose a little bit in the draft wake in the 24. Loudon taking off that front downforce from the 9 truck. He's going to lose a little ground there. Loudon set and sail for second place. Sullivan actually closing that gap for the lead. Down from half a second, down to 4/10 now. Bell hugging the bottom on the apron, trying to break the draft to these trailing trucks behind. Being hunted down by 3 of the Coast Guard's finest. Team Puddle Jumpers is on the move. A little bit of lift there again, losing the nose of that truck a little bit. Probably going to have to start searching around for grip. Is the 9 as we see the 38 and 97 closing behind. I mean, that 9 truck, I'm hoping that 38 gets alongside that 97. Otherwise, it's going to be interesting trying to hold off both of them. If I'm 38 and Miller, I'm probably going to help that 97 by and following through and get myself a free spot. And that's what we're going to see as a 38 pushes that 97 past the 9 truck at camp. Marching back to the front after another quick pit stop is the 97, as right in front we see Loudon and Sullivan going at it side by side across the stripe. Loudon's going to take over that second spot. Only 2/10 now behind Bell. Bell really slow into turn 1, but crosses back down in front of the wake of the 24. 24 loses the nose, and we see the 2 of Sullivan hard into the outside wall off of 2. Ooh, the 38 of Miller. No Nadu, side by side. Nadu to the bottom, Miller to the top. The lone Canadian in the field of the 97 going at the 38, trying to hold him off for that third spot. Bobbing and weaving and all manner of evasive maneuvers happening up front by that 14, trying to keep the 24 at bay. Bell's had everything but the kitchen sink thrown at him tonight, but so far has been pretty stalwart, leading the field for the majority of the night, handily going to claim the most laps led in this race. Well, you can see 63 in the outside wall. That's Randall Peasley. He's going to keep it up there and try to keep it out of traffic. Still some heavy damage to that truck that I don't think has been repaired since the initial incident. Field is safely going to navigate by and back out front. Gap closing down to just a half a car length. 24 washing up the track a little bit. 14 cutting off that advantage. Bell holding off so far. Loudon definitely seems to have the better truck at this point in time. 14 holding down to that bottom. 24 on the outside. He gets a little bit of a presence on that quarter panel. He's going to side draft off the corner and pull alongside as they cross the stripe. Just 4 laps to go here at Auto Club. Bell holds, they touch entering 1. 24 up the track, Miller to the outside. They're 3 wide for the lead. Miller with a massive run to the outside. He's going to assume the lead, clearing both Loudon and Bell off the corner. Bell from the lead to 3rd place, and now under fire from the 97 and Nadu. Battle of Zach's Miller versus Loudon, the 38 and the 24. Who can get it done as we come to 3 to go at the line? Miller on the outside, Loudon on the inside, all the way down to that bottom lane. Miller running absolutely up against that fence dirt track. And we see the 14 coming back in the picture, running that mid lane. He's going to push Miller on the outside, trying to clear them both past that 24 lap. I wouldn't count Bell out of this yet. Miller's still in the lead. Bell and Laugen alongside for a second. The 97 Nadu introducing himself into this equation. Nose to tail on the outside. Miller, Bell, Laugen to the inside of Nadu. Nadu getting run on the outside. He wants that third spot. Down into turn one, they fire those trucks. Still alongside for that third position, but the 24's going to clear off the corner. Side by side for the lead goes Bell. Bell to the inside, Miller to the outside. 2 by 2, first through fourth. Bell back to the lead. Side by side by side. It looks like it's going to be 3 wide off the corner here for the second spot. Nadu to the inside. A little bit of contact between Miller and Laugen on the outside. Miller gets the run. He's sending down to the inside to turn one. He's going after that lead yet again. Bell to the outside. Miller to the inside. The 24 Laugen up the middle. Going to try to make something happen on both of these trucks in the front. White flag lap. This is for everything. Bell leading on the last lap of the 3. Full send to the bottom for the 24. Washing up the track just a little bit. Slight contact. Sidetracking the 24 off the 14. Not going to get it done. It's going to be Bell across the line. Laugen second. Nadu third. Miller comes home fourth in that Toyota. Rounding out the top 5 is going to be Camp in that number 9. Absolute barn burner. Finish swapping first through fourth, back and forth to no end in the last 5 laps of this race. But victorious, the man of the day made it back up front after dropping back to third with just 2 to go. That 14 found his way back to the lead and claims victory here at Auto Club in round 1 of the 280 Truck Series. Jade Bell retired Air Force, actually. Raised in Oklahoma, retired in East Tennessee. Taking victory tonight. Putting on an absolute clinic tonight. Leading most of the race, falling back just a little bit toward the end, but sealing it at the end when it counts here at Auto Club. Getting it done here tonight. So far, the 14 truck. Jade Crank Bell taking victory in round 1. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight. We'll see if we can get an interview with our winner here. Bear with us. Bear with us just a moment as we try to get an interview staged here. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna ask for an interview from Mr. Bell, a race winner, real quick, if he doesn't mind. Yeah, well, that was quite the performance there at the finish. We saw absolute pandemonium on that restart. We saw position swapping first through fourth over and over again. But what what was your key? What did you see out front? And were you a little bit worried when you got shuffled back to third there with 2 laps to go?
Yeah, I thought I had it locked up early on. I hated to see those cautions start coming out. I pitted a little early on the first and second stops. And that gave me a good buffer. But yeah, there at the end, once they got to me, I actually told Kyle, my teammate, I was like, I'm in the catbird seat now. I wanted to be in third. So if you're out front, those two cars behind you get lined up and they've got too much of a run. You just can't hold them off. And then I was talking to Zach after the race. I got into him a little bit when he was on my outside. I just washed up. But I mean, overall, it's a lot of really good, really clean racing. I hated it for the 95. I can't remember what his name is. Brandon Torres. We raced really hard throughout that first stretch. He had a really good car, and I looked like he spun it there after the restart of one of those cautions. But good race overall. Me and my teammate Kyle Nadeau finished out there in the top three. So first race of the season, can't be upset with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Putting on an absolute a clinic tonight for us here watching. We had about 10 concurrent viewers, so we had a pretty good turnout on the stream, and I appreciate all you guys showing up here and putting on a show for us. I'm looking forward to seeing what you think, watching it back at some point. But yeah, awesome show, excellent race tonight. You put on a clinic for everybody and proved who had it at the end there, uh, getting by everybody and claiming victory in the first round.
Yeah, it feels good to find victory lane in the first round there. So appreciate everybody racing me clean. Appreciate you putting the broadcast on and everybody that put the league together. First race with them, good start, I'd say.
All right. Well, thanks for your time. I'm going to move on to Zach. Zach, a bit of a up and down night for you. You are definitely the biggest mover of the night, up 9 spots on the night from your starting position. What was your strategy throughout the night, and how do you think your race went for you?
I think overall the race went really well for all of us in the Coast Guard team. We all kind of had a similar strategy, and that really helped us stick together. And we were had a really good communication throughout the race. As for the big mover part, I think that really came close to the last half of the race. I think in the first stint, our first pit stop, we only took right side tires. We tried to save some time on pit lane, and it didn't work out for us as we thought. So once we ended up taking all four tires, the next couple stops, it really helped us get back in a groove, and we really all four of us were really making moves from that point forward from our second pit stop on. So that probably the last half of the race, we were really in tune with the car.
Yeah, definitely looked like excellent execution from your entire team there. We saw pretty much a foursome in that last looking like flying in formation on that last restart for a bit. Quite cool to see, and some excellent paint jobs on all of those trucks, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, we had those done by our painter here in the Discord. So yeah, excellent job by him.
All right. Well, congratulations on that strong start to the season. P2 on the day. Uh, Thank you for your time. We'll let you go.
Thank you.
Kyle, how you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm not too bad. How are you doing?
I wouldn't be doing too bad either. That was a very up and down day for you. We saw a little bit of an issue right on the first lap of the race, but slowly and surely highlighted throughout the stream. We saw you climbing and clawing your way back forward, and I was a little bit worried there. We saw an extra pit stop toward the end of the race there. What happened there?
Oh, that was just in case we had some green white checkers, and I just wanted to make sure my tank was full because Crank and I we were saving fuel every single caution. It was just caution come out, put the clutch in. I think we were 3 laps to the good, so we would have been 1 green white checkered safe, but not the 3 that are in this league.
Always luck favors the prepared, and prepared you were. I was a little bit worried you wouldn't be able to get back up there, but you definitely had speed in that truck all night, clawing back from 13th all the way back up to P3. Yeah, just a great recovery run, and it sounds like you guys played the strategy to perfection and got pretty good finishes across the board.
Yeah, hey, top 2 points for the team. So, a first and a third, you can't beat that. Well, you can, a first and a second, but, we'll take first and third for both of our first starts in this league. Yeah, thanks for putting the stream on. Thanks for everybody racing clean. It was, you don't know how a lot of people are going to race you towards the end of the race, but no, it was all fairly clean, nice, tight. People will give you a lane. Yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed with the league. I just want to give a shout out and say hi to my mom and dad who are watching, and hi to my girlfriend who is probably watching. I don't know if she is. And hi to everybody else out on the streamland.
All right, well, thanks for your time, all three of you. Congrats on a great round 1 and putting on an absolute barn burner of a show at the end for us to watch. That was an absolute blast to commentate on, and I'm sure the viewers had a great time as well. Good night.
Have a good night, man.
Have a good night.
Yep.
All right, there you had it from our top 3 finishers. Absolute epic race and an excellent way to start this season 1 for this league. Thanks to everyone who came out and tuned in for that. One more time, I'm going to go over the season schedule. Next week's going to be Las Vegas. That's 115 laps. That'll be next Thursday, same channel, same time, September 19th. Following that, the next race will be an 80s throwback race at Darlington Raceway. And that's going to be 100 laps on September 26th. You be sure to show up for that one. There's going to be some excellent paint schemes and overall throwback feel for the night. We're going to have a good time, and based on the tone that they set tonight, I think we're going to see some awesome racing too. But until then, I've been Adam LaVox. You're here on Faster Horses Media. Thanks for tuning in to the 280 Racing League. We hope to see you again next time. Good night.